The second quarter spot, is there a front runner? Is there someone who's kind of emerged yet? What have you seen from that?
Well, I think right now you would say the early favorite would be, Shug Jair. I think he's done a great job. He probably has a little bit of advantage of some of the guys that's in the program just by getting all the reps he got this spring football and then, now fall camp. But I think there's a constant battle. We got 2 weeks for guys to continue to make moves. Really excited about the group. We're going to have to develop some guys that maybe y'all don't know about yet, and I think that's a challenge and encouragement as a coach. It's going to be a young group. I know everybody knows about Will, but all the guys behind him, there's going to be a lot of guys that's going to, play hard for this university and do a great job.
How do you see Amir and Ricky kind of adjust?
Well, I think this is a different, it's a different platform when you get here at Michigan. The way we practice our process here, this is blue collar, tough, a lot of reps, 2-spot practices. I think for a kid that's coming in here that's not used to that, even though you're an older player, sometimes that ends up being an adjustment. But I think those guys, for the most part, are understanding, what we want, what we need, and, and where we're trying to go as a defense, and especially in the cornerback room.
What have you seen from Jaden Mangum since he's arrived?
Yeah, I think Mangum's a good kid. I think he works really hard. A good thing about him is, he's a mature player and he started games at Michigan State. Once again, I think you got to ask all the transfers. We do things different here. And what I mean by that is just the style of practice, what you face at practice every day, the offense that we run, downhill, play action shots, a lot of different things like that. I think that's, could be challenging for a guy that comes in here with just the spots and how we practice. But he's done a good job of trying to learn the new playbook. He wasn't here in the spring. We got him later in the summer. So just the adjustment of trying to put it's different between a meeting and a sheet of paper or a playbook and then now actually being out there, executing the defense. I also think his safety is a little bit different than at corner. I think at safety, one of the elite traits is making other people around you better. So I think if you look at all the great safeties that we have had here before, I know y'all talk about Rod all the time. When he's on the field, everybody feels comfortable. And I think it's hard for a safety if you don't know everything that's going on to make others around you. So I would think that's probably a challenge with all our new young guys in the secondary, whether they're freshmen or transfers.
Also with Brandon Hillman, there was a point where it seemed like he was going to be that next man up before Quentin came back and he added the transfers. Have you seen him kind of handle kind of still fighting for his position?
Yeah, I think the one thing here is you got to work for it every day, and I think that's the culture here. I think when you wake up in the morning, when I wake up every morning, I know, you got to win today. Don't worry about the next day. I think that's probably the mentality you would want, especially in that safety group. I think we got a lot of guys that can play next year. I think there's a lot of guys that we roll the ball off against Fresno, 6-7 guys that you will be okay with being in the game. I think that's encouragement to as a coach and also to those kids and they work. Whatever they do, we'll find out what they do well and find a role for them. So I'm really excited about B. Hill. Last year he played like 60 plays on defense. He didn't do as much in the spring, but he's been out there every single day trying to be a leader. I'm really excited about him coming this season in a couple weeks.
How much of what Rod did can you put on Wesley Walker's plate? How much has his experience helped him with that?
I think the thing with Rod is, I think it's kind of like having a coach on the field. He's a quarterback. All the stuff, the adjustments, the checks, the communications, how you see it. I think that's what Rod got. I think for me to say that one of those guys would take that role, I think that's probably more on Macari's plate or Q's plate just because they've been here longer. I think those guys are just trying to make sure they can execute the defense, build trust in the coaches and build trust in the other teammates. But I think Wes has played a lot of snaps too. I think that's one of the things that we try to do to bring guys in here as transfer that's played a lot of college snaps. Now, does that mean they're better than what we have here? I'm not sure. The games will tell that, but I think that's something where I try to value, trying to keep the culture of a room, also bringing new guys in. I want the guys with a lot of reps. So, I'm excited about Wes. He has some versatility. When he was at Georgia Tech, he played nickel. When he was at Tennessee, he played high. So he's played a lot all over the field.
What would you say your biggest strengths are as a recruiter?
To me, I just think I'm a people person. I love talking to people. I love to find out about their mom, dad, grandma, what they like to eat. what they enjoy, what do they like besides football. I think I want to know who I'm going to surround myself with. I want to know when they get to a place like Michigan, do they want to compete in the classroom? Do they want to, play in this environment that's here, the pressure that is, you got to try to win every single game, and you're always, in the media, and can they come in front of people like y'all and talk and tell their story and express themselves? So to me, I try to look at the big picture. I think there's a lot of players that are talented. I don't know if they fit here at Michigan. I think it's a little bit different. I think it's a blue-collar kid that's talented, always want to have growth. And that's kind of what I look at as a player if I'm trying to get a player. And then after that, I think my strength is just being authentic, just trying to be who I am. Sometimes I say jokes, they're not funny, and that's okay. Sometimes I say something they think is funny that it wasn't a joke. But I just think I'm going to be myself with parents. And I know when their kids get dropped off here, whether the kid's hurt, whether the kid's a starter, whether the kid's redshirting, I'm going to talk to them, and I'm going to be a mentor to them. And I think that's kind of what I believe in. Because, as a coach, when I was a player, sometimes you can see when you're not up, there's that tension and, this, do you matter? And I think here, everybody in our program matters. So I think that's just me just trying to be as a person, loving everyone, trying to show them that, I'm open to mistakes and tell them things that I mess up. And I think that's kind of how I do recruiting and just trying to do a good job doing that.
Are there significant differences recruiting at a power conference level compared to maybe a mid-major level?
Yeah, I think the thing that, I think you can catch yourself. I'm big on development. So, I take a lot of players at other places I've been that never played DB, and we had to teach them how to backpedal. I think here you're not getting that raw of a player, maybe like a B. Hillman. He played quarterback in high school. He never really actually played DB. So I think that's an advantage for me coming to a place like this because I'm used to not getting a kid that's that high talented. But I do think a place at Michigan, when you're recruiting, it's more of a national scene. I've been a regional recruiter besides the 1 year I was at Vanderbilt. I've been down south. I haven't been to Chicago or Cleveland or California or, that's just a little bit different here in Michigan. This is a national brand. I mean, I'm in Jamaica and I'm at the resort and they say go blue. My wife's like, this is crazy. I'm sitting at the hibachi bar thing whenever they're cooking in front of the kids and got an Ohio State fan besides there. And they're like big fans, and we're just talking. It's just crazy that when you have that logo on when you walk into schools and you're out in the community where you can reach. So I think that's just kind of where it's unique here. But I do think I learned this being here is it's the right blend of academics with football. And I've been to some schools where academics were like top 10 in the country, but football's not. Here you get the best of both worlds. So you got to have a family, a kid, environment, all that stuff to it's just the right mix to me, I think, at Michigan and recruiting here over being at Louisiana Lafayette, which I love, and I played there. Great question.
Wink had mentioned Zeke Barry was leading at the nickel position coming out of spring. Has he held on to that lead, and how's that battle?
Yeah, I love Zeke. Zeke's going to be a guy that we're going to try to play move around. He's playing high and low. So, I think he's trying to take on that role of trying to be a leader. Sometimes I think we have some talented guys like Zeke. They just haven't played as much. So he's just building confidence in those guys' reps in when they don't feel well, when their body's sore. But I think Zeke is probably the leader in that nickel role right now. J-Mac's behind him. We've been playing some of the other guys behind them, but the two guys that's been playing nickel the most at practice have been Zeke Barry and J-Mac. Yes, sir.
A couple of guys have been in the program for a while and just seem like they haven't really matriculated or kind of got to that point. In Cody Jones and Miles Powell, what do they need to do to kind of get to the point where they're seeing major playing?
I think during fall camp, it's a selfish time for kids. I think you got to focus on what can you do today to get your mind and body ready for that day. And I think those two guys have tried to do that and just focus on what they're doing. Miles, I think it's a little bit different when you're like the 6th or 7th or 8th corner and now you move up and now we're counting on you. So when you mess up, it matters. And I think that's where sometimes kids don't understand. It's a big adjustment for young guys sometimes in a program, especially when the guys that they've been playing behind been All-Americans, NFL pros, so they kind of know what it looks like. Now it's their turn to do that. So, Cody's playing nickel and high safety as well, kind of like how Zeke does. Miles is playing corner. He's been playing left and right. Hopefully those guys have a really good year. They've been doing a good job in camp. I'm excited about those guys. I do think we have, like you said, we have a lot of guys that y'all know because y'all cover us, but the average fan that maybe not know how long these guys been in. I mean, we got guys in their 3rd year of the program maybe played 40 or 50 snaps last year that we're going to be counting on this year. So it's a challenge, but I think those two kids that you mentioned plus others are really excited about the challenge. Yes, sir.
You talk about the social DBs having a maybe slow adjustment period. Is Wes in that category, or is he a step down?
No, I think all of them have been doing a great job. I didn't want to say that they're like behind or anything. I would say just like it's not about Michigan football is more than just X's and O's. It's about how we train, how we practice, how you respond, the schedule that we do, all these different things. A lot of kids have never done this. So like Wesley's a 6-year player. He told me after his first couple practices, he's never practiced the way we practice. The amount of reps that we do, the style, all those things are just, I think, adjustment for any kid that comes in a program. I don't care. You could be any program in America. It's just going to be a little bit different here. So I think all those guys are on the same level of like working. Wesley been getting reps with 1s and 2s. A lot of these guys have. We try to keep guys rotating in because that's how the games are. Your 1s aren't always out there, just trying to interchange them. I think that's what all of our transfers along with, like B. Hillman has been getting reps with the 1s as well. So a lot of guys have been getting reps with the 1s, and that's kind of how I like it.
Can Wes play low for you guys too?
We haven't like experimented with him there, but that's something that I think Wes is super talented. He can do, and Wink's very creative. He's going to find a role. He's going to find the top 22 kids or whatever it is, and he's going to find what role those guys are in. So we're still in that kind of development stage. We got 2 weeks, which I think is really exciting for us. I think every day we can try to find a way to get better. So we got an off day today. Tomorrow we'll get back at it, and we'll try to move as many guys as we can. We want to be a positionless defense where guys can play multiple positions. Whether it's you can move a guy in on 3rd down, they don't know what he's doing. I think that's something where Coach Wink, he's been coaching 20 years in the NFL and another almost 20 years in college. I think that's where his specialty is, finding roles for players.
Got time for a few more questions. We're starting right in the league. Actually, I have another question, but just following up on positionless defense.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a lot on the plate for the players to understand the various positions that they could fit in?
Yeah, to me, like I told y'all when I first met a lot of y'all, is, the teacher background. So, like, to me, when we start teaching concepts, we just teach with X's on the board. It's not like it's a certain position. This is the corner. This is the safety. So we try to teach the guys in different techniques. If you're a half-field player, playing man in the slot, press in the slot. So whoever is at that spot, they just know that technique already. So now when we put a call in the corner, it's going to be a half-field player, which safeties usually are. They know how to use those techniques. So I would say initially, I do think that could be a challenge for some of the players that maybe not played a lot, just because they don't know it a lot. But I do think our secret weapon here is our players that play so much. Like Rod Moore is meeting with guys. They got questions. They go to him. Me as a coach, I'm going to ask the guys in the meeting room how they see it. Do you see it the same way I see it? If I don't see it the same way they see it, why am I not? Where's the gap at? So I do think there's a lot of conversation, probably more than most meeting rooms, that I try to encourage, because it is a lot when you're playing 2 or 3 different positions.
My other question was,
Yes, ma'am.
You've only been around Sharon probably 8 months, I guess, on the job. How have you seen him evolve into being a head coach, and does he hang out in your position rooms, or does he let you guys do your thing?
Well, I think Sharon is a leader, and then what I mean by that is I think he shows us by example who he is. He hops back and forth to different meeting rooms. He was in my meeting room one day, and we was talking about a play that the offense did, and he told the guys that, this disguise that we're doing is really good because this is what the offense is doing. I just think his background, he's a people person. Most O-line coaches are, right? Like they got 5 O-linemen. Those guys never get any credit a lot, right, until they mess it up. I just think his personality has won over all the coaches and all the team. These guys love him and they appreciate him. Us too, as coaches, just get to know him. So, I might not know him as much as the other guys, but a lot of my mentors that spend so much time with him, that know him, he's just an O-line coach. There's a reason why there's a lot of O-line coaches that become head coaches and do a really good job. He just has that personality of always wanting to learn, always wanting us to grow as coaches. He'll call us out if we don't do the things right, just like the players. Everybody's challenged, no one's above approach. And that's the environment that I think me as a coach, I can still grow. And I think that's how our players grow, because how he demands, but he does it with a loving, it's focused on love. Great question. Yes, ma'am.
Last question over on the right, Ryan.
How would you say your previous coordinator experience benefits you on a day-to-day basis coaching at Michigan?
Well, I think as you're position coaching, right, if you're a position coach, your number one job is to take something off of Coach Wink's plate. And I think that's the advantage with us, that we have all the coaches that have been coordinators before. I know what he's trying to do every day, what he has on his plate, trying to get ready for practice. I think that allows me to say, hey, Coach Wink, these are the two things that I did a study. I watched 600 plays of this call. These are the two things that I think are really good. How do you see it? And usually he'll say he trusts me and let's go with it, right? Because he really trusts us. So I think that's kind of where I think that allows me just to know how much time and task on hand you have as a DC. You know, I'm used to, trying to call everything and have all these things on your plate, but I think us as a staff can allow Coach Wink to do his job. Because at the end of the day, y'all know this, you're going to be as judged on the coordinator as what happens on game day, right? If I can take something off his plate, all of us, I think this makes him a better coordinator. And if I do that, that makes me a better position coach, and then we win more games. So I think that's an awesome question.